Welcome to Raw Take, everyone, the lifeline to your unfiltered media experience. I'm your host, Gian Thomas, and this is my co-host, D. Williams. We need everybody to like and subscribe, guys. Let's keep it going. We're growing the channel. But before we start our show, I really want to talk about the young security guard officer who was gunned down by cops. I think it was last Friday. It was Friday night. Andres Granado was senselessly murdered, shot and killed. Cops arrived on the scene, and the young man did not have on his security uniform, but that didn't mean they had to just shoot him. And he started running because, I mean, the cops came guns blazing. And for the cops to not even ask any questions and they just start shooting, that just goes to show why we're having protests, why we have people marching. I mean, this is crazy that we have stuff like this happening, and we'll continue to have people marching and fighting for their rights if we still continually have cops just shooting people with no answers, with no procedures, no nothing, just shot and killed that young man. So prayers goes out to his family. I mean, when will the violence stop? Honestly, when will the cops stop just killing black and brown people? That's the real question. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, the young man was at his job actually. He worked at the place, and it was a really senseless murder on the cops' behalf. They have a shoot first and ask questions later kind of mentality when they go into a situation, and I want to believe that they're not trained to handle situations that way. However, it occurs so often it's leaning more towards that maybe they are trained to handle situations like that. Go in guns blazing. After you kill them, then we'll find out why they were here or what they were doing or who they are or whatever.
Yeah.
And stuff like this, I don't know. It seems like when one cop commits a senseless murder, it's almost like it gives an incentive for another cop to just say, okay, well, it's my turn now. Let me take a shot at it. And it's turning into it's still, should I say, a growing problem in this country that really needs to be capped off at some point, man. It's really time to really just cap it off and do whatever it takes to stop it, man, because it's just way out of hand. There's no respect. And the thing is, I always say, if you're demanding respect, then that means you got to be given respect. And cops want to be respected, but look how they're treating people every day. Somebody's getting harassed or killed by police in a senseless way. If you're running, there's no need to shoot a person that's running, because if they're running, then they're not a threat. Only if they're running towards you, then yeah, maybe. But if they're running away from you, that means that, at that point, you're more of a threat to them than they are of you or to you. So, this young man, it's just another young minority that has lost his life senselessly to police brutality.
Yeah, it's just truly sad. It's sad that this is the world we live in, and that racism is so prevalent in our time, in our society. It's just very, very strong. I mean, you can see it in NASCAR. I mean, NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace found a noose in his garage, and Bubba Wallace is the NASCAR driver that that came out and said that the Confederate flag was not that it shouldn't be they shouldn't have it at NASCAR races, and NASCAR listened to him and they banned the Confederate flag, and now you see the true hatred coming out coming out against him because he's fighting against this. He's standing up against this racism, and here they are fighting it back with hatred. You know, a noose in his garage. That's crazy. I mean, that's saying I'm going to lynch you. I'm going to hang you. And that's just so sad that he would even have to deal with that in 2020. I mean, it's 2020 and you're getting nooses sent to you like it's the 1950s. It's just sad.
Yeah, it is. This to me, this it shows. It shows proof as to on a previous show what we said this Confederate flag actually mean to some of those in NASCAR that that did not want to get rid of the flag. You know, that was opposed to it. Um,
Hmm.
this shows that the prejudice is still there. Um, this shows that the segregation is still in play, and uh, it also shows that the true reason why some people in NASCAR and some people just in general had a problem with getting rid of the Confederate flag. And now, as you said, we see the prejudice coming out. We see the hate crime taking place. We see these negative actions against uh, further shown against Black people. Um, and they said that they're going to investigate and find this person and severely punish this person, and they won't be able to drive anymore, race anymore. But that's just one. Who's to say that
Yeah.
who's to say it's not more? And when you to take an action like that, you put a noose in someone's garage. It's a big statement. It's a
Yeah.
big racial statement, and yeah, it needs to be addressed. And I think that when they find whoever the person is that did this, that put the noose there, not only should they get fired, but they should also be charged. I think that because hate it's basically it's a hate crime.
Yeah,
It
it's a hate
wasn't a
crime.
violent hate
Exactly.
crime, but it's still a hate crime. And so just
Yeah.
firing is not enough. This person needs to be he needs to be charged, and that's how I see it. If he's not charged and he's just fired, then he have an opportunity to go and further pursue his hate crime actions.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just man, it's just so hard. And you see that, this is the last wave of racism, and we are really trying to stomp it out. And it is fighting its everlast breath to just keep on struggling and keep to stay alive. And I mean, I commend him for, even still wanting to be in the sport because the sport basically doesn't want him in there anymore. I mean,
Mhm.
he's probably getting death threats. You're already getting nooses. That's basically a death threat. I mean, to a black person,
Yeah.
that's a death threat. Basically to anybody, that's a death threat. So he's basically getting death threats already. So, I commend Bubba Wallace for really, sticking in there and really fighting and really digging in his heels to say that he's not gonna let these prejudiced people scare him off. All across the country, statues like George Washington, Andrew Jackson, even Ulysses S. Grant are coming down. And I see this as the country saying that we don't want these people who were, yes, they are our forefathers and they are great people who did things in the country, but you also have to look at what else they did, the horrible, terrible things they did. A lot of people are mad because they tore down the Ulysses S. Grant statue, but Grant was the last president to own slaves. That's something people don't know that. People don't know that that it wasn't until the Emancipation Proclamation was signed that he gave away his last slave. So, and then not to mention, he started a hot war with Indians. That he blamed them and said that they were attacking people when they really wasn't. So he started a war with the Indians for no reason. Well, it was for a reason. It was to take their land. But I mean, so he lied on that. So we have to look at these people for who they really are. And yes, some people will say, well, Grant did fight against the KKK and other racist groups back then. So that is good, but we also have to realize who he is and the things that he did, and it's just our history is so entangled, and everything is not black and white. But maybe he should be put in a museum. I mean, maybe you shouldn't have people like this all paraded around cities and things like that, and taxpayer dollars have to pay for stuff like this. That's not right, because I don't want my tax dollars going to some racist who started the KKK and other things like that. Mike Pence refuses to say Black Lives Matter. Mike Pence just recently did an interview with a news channel, and he refused to utter the words Black Lives Matter. And just watching that video made me honestly cringe, because at a time that black and Hispanics are getting shot in the streets like crazy, you can't even say that you believe in the movement that's happening, that you can't even give us that kind of support. You can't even say our name. I mean, he just denied himself of saying Black Lives Matter, because I think he fundamentally doesn't believe in it. That's not something that 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 he believes in. He just doesn't believe in it. He believes in the all lives matter narrative, but it's like, how are all lives going to matter if Black lives doesn't matter? I just don't understand how he could just, and then he wants to say, oh well, I've met with black leaders, but you met with people like Candace Owens, meeting with the worst people ever, and you want to say that, oh, you're meeting with scum. I mean, Candace Owens is literally scum, and for him to be like, oh well, I've met with some of your leaders, no, Candace Owens doesn't represent anybody in the black community I know. I, I'm just so appalled, and just for him to just keep on trying with the narrative that, oh, that we've done great things for the black community. Black unemployment is at its lowest. Black unemployment was at its lowest when Obama was in office. Black unemployment has been going down, I mean, for years. So you can't even take responsibility for that. Those are things that's been happening. So for him, it just goes to show that they don't care, that the administration tries to do the bare minimum to attract to black people. That's why when they signed that executive order, I mean, the executive order doesn't address the initial racist tendencies of policing. So it's a bunch of half measures that will never amount to anything.
Yeah, you're right. When I was watching the video of him, true videos of him, um, talking to vice president, he kind of, I kind of got this impression that, okay, is their world, the white people, the majority is their world, and we're just allowed to be in it.
Yeah.
Um, because as he was talking, he was like, well, well, the black community has done this or that, for our communities and for your communities. I thought it was all of our community.
Yeah.
Um, and the fact that he would not acknowledge the fact that Black Lives Matter, he won't say it, but he says all lives matter. That's like a scapegoat. Yeah, all lives does matter, but it seems like the majority lives matter more than the minority lives matter, and that's what we're being shown. We're being shown that day after day because you're not hearing about white people getting shot um, when they're surrendering or on their job or if they're running. You're not hearing about this kind of stuff,
Exactly.
but you are hearing about this kind of stuff in the minority community. So if all lives truly matters to him, then he would not be reluctant to say Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Uh, it makes me feel uncomfortable, and it makes me feel actually kind of angry that we're being governed by a bunch of people who don't understand us, don't like us, don't care about us, but they just say what they think people want to hear to get by.
Exactly.
And they're willing to use us to benefit on their behalf, not ours. They may give us a little bit. Trump thinks that he can throw money at you, a little bit of money, and you'll shut up and be on his side. But it doesn't work like that. You can't
Mm-mm.
shut us up because you do a little bit of good towards us because we can see through that. We know the motives, and I could just see that Pence doesn't have good intentions for the black community. He doesn't care about the police brutality, the oppression that we're facing because guess what? He doesn't even know how it feels
Yeah.
because he's the majority.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he don't feel like he's required to say it or acknowledge it because of that one word that we always say on our show, entitlement.
Yeah.
Um, entitlement is what makes the certain person or race feel like they're higher or above or even better than the next race. And as long as you feel like you're superior to everyone, their lives don't matter to you.
Yeah.
And because you don't have any, there's nothing, no morals or standards or values that would make their lives matter to you, no matter how good they are, or how much they do, or how much they've contributed. In your mind, they're still going to be way beneath you. And that's what I got from um, Vice President Pence's comment, his statement.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to ask somebody to empathize with you when, they've never stepped in your shoes, they don't know your plight, they don't know how to connect with you. So, they feel like they could just say these key hot words and you'll just shut up and be quiet. That's why a lot of people, some people are wondering, well, Trump just signed the executive order. Why aren't people stopping? Because we are at the point where people know that that is not enough. We want big change. That's why you see the defund the police movement, because it's a big change, because we need big change. People are tired of the little incremental change. That's done with.
Mm.
That's out the door. Nobody wants to see that anymore. People want broad strokes. People want big change. And just
You're right.
that's just and you know what? And that's just the world we live in now, because we've waited so long to, we've this is the same fight that, people in the 60s and 50s were fighting. I keep saying that because it's been 60 years and we are still fighting. I watch Malcolm X videos and Martin Luther King videos, and they talking. I feel like they watching the news today and talking about the stuff today. They talking about police brutality back then. I mean, it's time for a change, and that change comes from the young people. And the
Yeah.
young people have a different way of fighting. At a Trump, as we all know, Trump had basically his big racist rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and there was K-pop and TikTok teens who registered by the hundreds of thousands to this event, inflating the numbers, making Trump think that all these people were coming to see him talk when only 6,200 people were at the rally. I mean, it was so embarrassing to see all the preparation that Trump had for this event and for, you know, they didn't even fill up the stadium. The stadium had big sections of it that were open for people to sit. So, this is a sign of so many things. This shows that Trump is losing momentum. This also shows people believe in people believe in the pandemic. People are frightful of this thing. So people are not going to go out there to see this buffoon talk and be a racist for 2 to 3 hours. Because I went to a Trump rally, and I mean that's exactly what I saw. I just saw him be racist for a couple of hours. I mean, because nobody wants to risk their lives for that. The racists, they can do that in their own homes. So I mean, I think this was I love this. I love how these teens and these young people, kind of just kind of swept the rug from under him because he thought that everybody was coming to see him and no one was there. And I heard they have reports that he was livid, that he was so angry with his staff and how could this happen and all this and all that. And it's just like, man, no one likes you, dude. You're a racist. You're a racist, fascist pig in office. Nobody wants to see you anymore. We're done. We're done with you. The only thing you have is the tiny base, is your tiny base of racists and lost people and lost Republicans. That's all you have left. After that, and that's such a small group of the country. And we're constantly getting rid of them, you know, talking, just putting these people on blast and, really showing who they are, making these people show their true colors. And you know what? They're gonna change or they're just gonna just go into some hole and, fade away.
Yeah, I think they're going to go into a hole and fade away because they're not going to change. Um, the whole thing was funny to me. I laughed. I laughed. I want to laugh right now, but we're doing this show. But it was extremely funny to me because they had like outside events and stuff scheduled, and literally nobody showed up.
Nobody.
Um, and Trump bragged on these big numbers for a while. Oh yeah, it's going to be huge. Because in his mind, it's going to be huge because I'm the best president. Everybody loves me.
Yeah.
No, nobody loves you except you. Uh, my opinion of Donald Trump is he is the king of all fools and
Yeah.
foolishness. He's like a dumb person that thinks he's smart.
Hmm.
Um, people can be so idiotic that they don't see it, but so they to them is brilliance, but to the world is you're an idiot, and that's what you
Yeah.
are, Trump. You're a
Stupidity.
freaking idiot. And seeing that he doesn't have the supporters that he thought he had, and the few people that he did, these people, the few that did show up there, they're like blindly following this man because they believe in him so much. What are you believing in him to do? Other than cause orchestrate more oppression towards the minority communities. Um, Trump does not have good intentions for no one. Trump doesn't like anyone but Trump. We say that all the time in the show. Um, so the people who did show up, if you're not rich, but not richer than him, of course, but if you're not rich, a part of his team, he doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
Um, I think now this is my theory. This is my theory of I think that all the registries that were registered to come to or to attend the rally, I think that it was done to trick Trump into believing that he was going to have this huge, enormous turnout, to keep the people who actually would go from even being able to go. Because at that point, they don't even have no room for, they don't have any more tickets or whatever for people because it was basically sold out. Um, I think that was the plan. Because if you do that, you block a whole bunch of people from coming that would have came, and that
Yeah.
would just fed Trump's ego. Instead, they were successful in breaking their ego down, at least for that moment, because Trump's ego is like in a whole different world from ours, from everybody else. But I was pleased from a real deep down place when I seen that. But I was also disgusted by some things that I heard him saying during the rally,
Oh my
because
God.
of how much of a liar he is. Like, like saying stuff like coronavirus is fading away. What planet is he on? Is he on? The
I
numbers
have
are
no
rising.
idea.
How is it fading away? Um, and this is not even part of the show, what I'm about to say now, but have you noticed that everywhere Trump goes, he does not, uh, not only does he ignore the safety guidelines and practice social distancing, he does not ever wear a mask.
Mm-mm.
And even when there's been reported, some of his people on his team has been diagnosed with coronavirus, he still doesn't wear a mask. It's almost like,
Mm-mm.
does he have like an antidote or something? Like, why is
I
he not
have.
even scared or anything? And then all these people rounding up, um, to see him. None of his people have masks. Like, what's really going on? Why is this man not afraid to catch this? I mean, not saying that he has to be afraid, but why does he not even show any concern about about contracting this virus when the numbers are rising? That just bothers me, man. It seems like he has something that he knows that the public doesn't know.
So look, I have this conspiracy theory. I mean, everyone around Trump, just get this, everybody. Everyone around Trump either has the virus, has gotten sick. I mean, they've had people who've died who worked at the White House who contracted the coronavirus. So my whole thinking is they have antivirus. They have some kind of world miracle drug that's an antivirus, and they give it to the president and vice president and people of high ranking, high officials. I think they get the vaccine, but the average Joe Blow, no, you don't get the vaccine, but people of importance, they get it. So I mean, he shook hands with people who had the coronavirus, and Trump is not a healthy person. He's like the opposite of healthy. He's like a virus. I mean, unless that's why he's not getting it, because he actually is a virus. So that could be, we got a couple of theories, guys. He could be, they could have some kind of antivirus thing and they just give it to him every so often. Or Trump is a literal virus and he can't contract the coronavirus because he is a virus. So,
Yeah,
we're working with those two theories. But D, you talked about the rally itself. And one of the things that he said in the rally was he called the virus the Kung Fu virus. And I was just like, wow, that is very racist. That's not like I'm trying to hide my racism. That is like, here's my racism out in the open. See who I am. And I'm just like, wow, man, that's crazy. And another thing he talked about was burning. Like, if someone was to burn the American flag, they need to go to jail for 1 year. And I'm like, this just goes to show how incompetent he is because, the Supreme Court already decided a case like that back in the 80s, and that
yeah.
that you can't that's a part of your free speech. And so, for him to just be trying to, we've made so many strides and he's trying to just take us back. He's just trying to move the pendulum backwards. And I'm just like, man, we really got to get this man out of office. We really got to vote, guys. Like voting
Yeah,
in 2020 in this election is so important, and I think, and that's why, you know what? I think people kind of get that, and that's why, like in the polls, he's down. But he was down in the polls with Hillary Clinton. So I don't believe in the polls. The polls to me, because that can make people get too comfortable, and then, oh well, if the polls are so high, I don't need to go vote. So I don't,
yeah, not true.
yeah. So yeah, not true. Everybody needs to get out there and vote. I mean, that's
Um,
that's key.
yeah. Um, Trump tweeted earlier today, saying that if the Democrats get if we get a Democratic president in office, it would set the African American community back. So I had to go reply on that message. I was like, if we get either right now, we're going to set all people back. You know, Biden has his shortcomings, just like Trump. But truth be told, at the end of the day, I'll take Biden over Trump any day.
Yeah.
Um, and people like all you guys need to see Trump for who and what he really is. Um, he's all for self. He lets that be known. He's racist, not just against black people. He's racist against poor people that's more rich than him, and apparently now Chinese people.
Oh, he's always hated. He's always disliked the Chinese people.
Yes.
He's always talked about them in his tweets, and the way
Yeah.
just Trump hates everybody. That's
Yeah.
that's that's really true to him. He hates everybody, probably but his family, and I'm pretty sure he hates some of his family members.
I think that every time when he wakes up, he looks in the mirror, he convinces himself that he loves himself, and he convinces himself that he's the most important and the best person
In
there
the
ever
world.
was and ever will be, and he leaves his house 100% believing that lie.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah. So look, we need you guys to hit the polls. We need you guys to rush the vote. Um, we all have to do our part. That's how we do our part. What other way can we fight it besides doing that? And stay on top of it. Don't let the news pass you by. Stay on top of what's going on in the world. Part of how you can do that is continue to tune in to Raw Take. We're gonna always keep it as fresh as possible with you guys. We're gonna always give our true raw take on everything, and we always actually want to hear from you guys because sometimes you have a raw take on a certain topic or situation that's going on, and you don't have a way to get it out. So, here's a platform for you. Leave it in the comments. If you got a video, leave a link in the comments,
Yeah.
and we will address it. We will get the word out there for you. Um, so that's our pledge to you guys. That if you have something that you need to get out there, now that's not saying we're going to agree with what you have to get out there, but it would definitely be a discussion.
No. Well, with that being said, everybody, I want y'all to kill that like button, subscribe, share the video, guys. Keep sharing the video. I thank y'all for watching.